recording today. Muy bien. Y buenos días. Muy buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Están bien?
Sí, está bien.
¿Están bien? ¿Están bien? Notice how nobody ever really responds, oh, mal. Yeah. You know, unless you know somebody really well, do you ever respond saying, gee, I'm really lousy? You know, you're like your best friend. Yes. Oh my God, I'm having a lousy day. But you know, when we greet people here and there, even if you're really not good, everybody's, oh, estoy bien. Or, you know, at worst, so, you know, oh, regular, okay. Or even at worst, más o menos, you know, more or less, meaning so, but nobody ever says, you know, unless you look like you're at death's door. Okay, vamos a empezar. We're going to begin. I want to open first with what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over the little oddball things with GUE and GUI. So I'm going to put on share screen our pronunciation page. So your pronunciation page, make sure you either have that pulled up on a second screen, or if you have it printed out, take some time to grab that. We're going to do the GUE, GUI, which doesn't take long. We're going to do the B&B. And you know what? I don't think I'm going to send you into little groups today because somos cuatro. There are only 4 of us. So I think we can actually do this without going off into small separate rooms. We're going to cover the B and the V and just the B and the V today. Because the B and the V won't really be that hard to do. We're going to leave our nasty R, our rolling the R's for next week. So we'll leave that off. But this will give you a couple minutes to grab that sheet of paper. We're going to do a quick review on how to make things plural. So again, again, we're going to take a look at the corrections for this, and I'm going to have the answer key all pulled up. Okay, plurals won't take long because they kind of look a little bit like what you're used to in English. They're not too far off. So you've got a mental framework that will correspond to some concepts with making nouns, people, places, things, nouns, plural. So we'll talk about that. We will also, actually, I'll give you a little homework to do on your own on that later on. We're also going to do a little review of how can you tell that nouns are masculine or feminine. We'll see if you can recognize that. I'll give you an opportunity to ask me questions about it first. And then we're going to get into, from there, a little bit of work with reviewing some of these family things with some sentences to using I or es, there is, saying something exists, or you know, somebody is a certain way. So we're going to start to get into this little verb ser, to be, explain the forms, and talk about people with it. So you'll hear examples about talking about people. La familia will review from the first couple of chapters, all that familia stuff with the verb es or son, is or are, and with I, and talk a little bit about that. We'll introduce a little bit with numbers, so it'll be a kind of a lot, but you know, some small topics here and there. And feel free, of course, to interrupt definitely when you've got questions. Hay preguntas. Do you have any questions, like burning questions from anything you did in Duolingo, anything that you did in the book that was like, wow, this didn't make sense to me, or I just didn't get this concept? No, okay. Yeah. So we're going to do a lot of practice, and you'll be doing pronunciation practice actively, but a lot of listening, because we learn from listening to how we pull these things together with full sentences from hearing somebody say a whole idea in a sentence. Okay, Vale, vamos a empezar. We're going to begin with this GUE, GUI thing. And I'm going to pull this up on my share screen for now. If you've got a separate page, you can look at it. We're just going to show you, we went over the C and G. Was I able to send you out into small groups with this C? Bien? I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry. My brain is faulting me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've got, is it, perdón, sí, no?
I think we did. Yeah.
I think you did. I think you did too. That was what my notes said. Okay. So we got two sounds that C can make, right? S or K hard sound, and two sounds that G can make, a soft H, like the J, J, a throaty H sound is what the J will sound like, or the G hard sound, right? And the only times you've got to worry about with C and G are CE or CI, those two sequences. That's when it goes soft for S. And GE, GI goes soft with a H if it's GE or GI, okay? So those are the soft sounds, but kind of related to that idea, CECI, GEGI, is that sometimes this letter of G presents some challenges. And these challenges generally come when I need to have a GE or a GI, but I need to have the G go into hard sound mode. But I can't do that because it's GE or GI. And this will happen once they start to conjugate verbs. Well, not even that, sometimes nouns. So here's what happens. If you see spelled out a combination of GUE or GUI, because I told you Spanish is very phonetic, and it is, you would think it should be GUE or GUI, but no, it won't. A pattern of GUE and GUI, the U has one job. Its job is to make that G go into G. It stands there, and GUE, GUI, the U is silent. So this is one of the very few times, you know, you have your H, the H that is always silent unless it's a C-H combination. H is generally silent. U is sometimes silent. And this is silent, kind of like we had with QUE and QUI, K and ki, right? This is ke and ki. GUE and GUI, the U is there to be silent. It's there to push the G back into a hard G sound. So it'll sound like ge, and gi. Okay, we won't push an U sound into that. Bien? So this doesn't take a lot of practice. So I just want you to say these words with me. This word, the word for war, and wow, we borrow this word in English to talk about guerrilla warfare, right? And people misspell it in English. Little kids do. They spell it gorilla, like G-O-R-R. That's because, yeah, because it's ge, right? Guerra, guerra. Repitan, por favor, guerra.
Guerra.
Guerra. Guerra is war. Guerrilla, guerrilla is a little war. Meaning people fight in tiny bands and then they go run away. Tiny attack mode and then run away. So you scatter so that people don't catch you. So guerrilla is a warfare tactic, and we borrowed that concept and borrowed that whole word into English. Guerrilla, guerrilla, but guerra for war. We're going to look below that. The word guía, guía. Repitan, guía.
Guía.
Guía is a guide, somebody who works at, or it can be a paper guide as well, right? A person who works showing people around a town. Here is an example of when this GUE has to happen because of a verb. Normally that would be a GA, but because we're using the verb in a command mode, we have to add a different vowel. And so we want to keep that G sound. So the word is arrive, and arrive sounds like, who would ever say that as a command? Well, they do when they mean get here at a time. Like if somebody tells you get here at 8, come at 8, the way they'll use it is to say this verb, llegue, llegue. Repitan, llegue.
Llegue.
JK.
Llegue means get here, arrive. Llegue a las 8, get here at 8. Llegue a las 8, at 8 o'clock. Llegue a las 8. Okay, bien. The way somebody says, hey, pay up is this, pague,
Pague.
pague,
Okay.
pague, pay. Here's a really, really common command that means somebody's telling you do it. If they're saying follow me or keep going a certain way, they'll use this word. This is actually a really important word because when people give you directions and they say keep going like 4 blocks or go straight ahead, they'll use this word, and the word is sigue.
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 Sigue, sigue, follow or keep on going. They use this to give directions, you know, walk straight, go 3 blocks, keep going straight ahead. They'll use this word sigue. And here's a word that's kind of related to that, but it means the following, like the following day, the following week. The word is siguiente. Siguiente. It's a long word, but you'll hear this word a lot. Siguiente. Al día siguiente, the following day. Siguiente. Una vez más, one more time, because it's a long word. Siguiente.
Siguiente.
Siguiente. Muy bien, muy bien. So, GUE, GUI, when you see them, ignore the U. It's silent. It's one of the rare silent letters. There's even a rarer combination. We're not gonna really practice it. I'm just gonna show it to you because this happens in very, very few words, hardly any. So it's not worth me sending you out into practice. When you see the double dot over the GUE or GUI, that little dot, in German, it's called an umlaut. And they do it, no, they call it a diéresis in Spanish. But that little double dot means, oh, I know it should be U is silent, but go ahead and pronounce the U. It doesn't happen often, but here are the words it happens in a lot in. And literally you have to dig kind of hard to find words that do this. The word pinguino, for penguin, pinguino.
Pinguino.
Pinguino. And how much are you going to talk about a penguin? Not much, especially you go to Mexico. Come on, you know, los pingüinos no viven en Mexico. Penguins don't live in Mexico unless they're in a zoo. Okay, but this next word, this is something that people do use, vergüenza, vergüenza, which means shame, vergüenza.
Vergüenza.
If somebody says, tengo vergüenza, vergüenza, and I do pronounce the U, the umlaut, the double dot means do pronounce it. Vergüenza means shame. So tengo vergüenza, someone is saying, I have shame. Wow, that sounds really, really harsh. Tengo vergüenza. If they say, I am so embarrassed, I want to hop. It's that feeling. Vergüenza is, oh my God, I can't believe I did it, right? Yeah. Yeah. I am so embarrassed. I want to melt into the ground, crawl in a hole and pull everything over the top. That's vergüenza, right? It's shame, but it's embarrassment, shame. Oh my God, I'm humiliated. Vergüenza, vergüenza. Okay. So when do people use that? You know, people see little kids behaving really badly. Que vergüenza. Yeah. You know, kind of a scolding word, yeah. Vergüenza. And this word you hear sometimes in Mexico. It used to be kind of derogatory, but I don't think it technically is anymore. Güero. Güero is kind of like calling somebody a gringo, kind of, yeah. Güero is often used as a a mildly joking thing. Güero is kind of like saying, yeah, a blonde person. And I know that sounds weird, but it's sort of like saying, hey, foreigner, yeah, güero. Güero, because a lot of foreigners who come down, meet blonde people, you know, very non-Hispanic, güero. So, and that one you hear more in Mexico, I think, than in Spain. Okay. Let's take a little look at our B and B. And we can do these together. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger on my screen. Do I need to have the screen up, or do you want me to take the screen down? If you do, you have it all printed up or on a page, or do you need me to keep the words up on screen share? What's better for you guys? Since we're a small group today.
Either. I have my sheet, but
Either.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
I have my sheet as well.
You do? Okay, and Pat, I can see you've got one. Okay, I'm going to take it off screen share there's done so that I can see everybody a little bit better. Okay, so here's the thing with B and B. And when you talk about them as letters of the alphabet, which isn't super important, but very briefly, they call it B grande, big B, B grande, B chica, little, yeah, they make the same sound. Okay, but the key is with a B and a V, they're going to sound like a B. And B in English is very explosive, you know, big boy, brave, break, right? Baboon, brief. Even if you say brief, BR, brief, you feel that air, brief. You shouldn't feel a puff of air. So your lips just come together, okay? But one B will be a little bit stronger than the other B, okay? One will be a little bit stronger than the other. Where it's really, really soft is where it's between two vowels. Super, super soft, okay? And the way the way my teacher at age 15 used to train us is she'd make you take a piece of paper and put it between your lips. And the soft B that's between two vowels, your lips should barely touch the piece of paper. And if you are clamped down, it's too strong. And I used to have to sit in front of a tape recorder for, oh my gosh, many minutes practicing that. But we won't do that to you. So we're going to look at the slightly stronger and very, very soft. And never will your teeth touch your bottom lip. The V in English is a V, you know, even if you only do it briefly, because you probably only do it briefly, your teeth do come really close to this lower lip in English. That will not happen. No teeth on the lip. Okay, so, but the B and the V will sound identical. So by the way, little kids, when they have spelling class in Mexico, sometimes make spelling mistakes with B chica and B grande. This is where they make spelling mistakes because they sound the same to them. And they're right, they sound the same, okay? So that's how close it is. We're gonna practice these together though. Primero, okay, so I'm gonna look at the left-hand side column, a la izquierda, to the left. Just the left column. We're not going to go back and forth. We're going to go straight down the left column. Okay, so B and B that starts off a word, or B and a consonant combination. So that's usually BL, BR. It'll be a tiny bit stronger, but it's still softer than English. So we got blanco. Repitan, blanco.
Blanco.
Blanco, okay, muy bien. Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo. People say that when they cheer. Yeah. Okay. Billete.
Billete.
Billete is a ticket that you purchase to get into something or get on a plane. Burro. Burro. Well, we know what that is. One of the many words for beautiful, bello. Bello. And Italian has a similar word, you know, bella, right? But bello. Okay. Barato.
Barato.
Barato, inexpensive, meaning cheap, but not cheap in quality. Cheap as in it doesn't cost a lot. Barato, barato. Es muy barato. Wow, it's inexpensive. Es barato. Es barato. Okay, now we're going to look at the still slightly stronger, but still weak, you know, by English terms. We're going to look at the V words that are on the right, a la derecha. And here we've got a view. We say the vista, vista, vista. No, it'll be vista, vista,
Vista.
vista. Vista is a view. Okay. That word for green again, verde,
Verde.
verde, verde. Right? Yeah. If you're a Bible reader in verdant pastures, yeah, the Psalm thing, verdant is, from a fancier word for green. Right, in English. Our fancy words in English come from Latin. Our common everyday words come from Anglo-Saxon, Dutch, Germanic, yeah. But our fancy higher level words come from Latin, and that's why sometimes we have English words that sound like something you see in Spanish. Let's look at below verde. We've got vamos.
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 Vamos. Vamos means let's go, or we are going. Vamos, okay. Vamos. Here we go. Here's the word for come. When somebody says, hey, come over here. Venga,
Venga.
venga. Venga means come over here. Okay, somebody's telling you to do it. And we've got two words together because you're going to actually hear it more the second way, but the first way is just the infinitive, meaning the basic verb form. To see is ver.
Ver.
Ver. But many times you will hear it conversationally, somebody saying this, a ver, a ver, a ver. A ver means, a ver is kind of a pause, throw it out there expression. A ver, let's see. Somebody stopping to think about what they're going to say next to you. And they're trying to like pick in their brain, what is it I really want to say? A ver. It's kind of meaningless in a way. Oh, let's see. Well, it has a couple of meanings, but a ver, let's see. Okay. The word vacation. And the word vacation is always plural. French and Spanish both do that. It's plural. It's never just a onesie word. So it's vacaciones. Vacaciones.
Vacaciones.
Vacaciones. Vacaciones. If I want to say I'm on vacation, I will say estoy, I am. Estoy de vacaciones. Estoy de vacaciones. I am on vacation. De vacaciones. Okay. So those be y ve, those two sounds will be slightly the stronger sound, but not as strong as English. And now we're going to see B and B below it. When they are sandwiched between two vowels, they will go even softer. They will be so soft, in fact, that many times it'll be very hard for you to hear this sound when people are speaking at a normal rate. Because people will slide through it with that briefest, lips hardly touching, that it'll sound like they're not making that sound almost. It's that soft. But they will sound exactly identical, the B and the V. So now I'm going to go from left to right. We went straight down before, but I'm going to go to left to right so that you'll see here that these sound the same. Okay, we've got the word for tube. Tubo. Tubo. And watch my lips for this time. Tubo. Tubo. It's your lips hardly touch. And now I'm going to look to the right of it. This word will sound exactly the same, but it means something different and it's spelled differently. It's a verb. It means something in the past. He got or he had something. Tuvo. So tuvo and tuvo sound exactly the same. You know one word from the other because of context, how they are used. That one is automatically a verb. The other one is like un tubo de pasta de dientes, a toothpaste tube, right? If they're talking about that, it'll be really obvious versus tuvo un perrito, he got a little dog. Yeah, it'll be totally obvious. Okay, we're going to look back at the word for the country, the island, Cuba,
Cuba.
Cuba,
Cuba.
Cuba, Cuba. And then we're going to look at the word for key, and this is going to come in the middle of the word, llave, llave, llave. It'll be very, very soft. We're going to look at fabuloso.
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 Fabuloso, fabuloso. It'll be that softest of these, okay? And now we've got the word for serious or grave, not a grave that you dig, but grave, you know, wow, he is gravely ill, that kind of grave. Grave,
Grave.
Grave.
grave, grave. Bien, okay? We've got the word for drink. The first B is going to be a little more forceful. The second B is between two vowels. It'll go super, super soft. Bebida, bebida,
Bebida.
bebida. Bebida is a drink of any kind. Okay, bebida. Oh, if you go into a place that, you know, a truck cart that sells food, or a restaurant and they have signs posted, you know, they'll have a column, bebidas. Bebidas are drinks. Whoa, there are all the kinds of drinks that they sell. Bebidas. So you'll see it in a heading on a menu like we do here in the States. And next we got, very last one we've got is the word for the month, month of November. And notice it's not capitalized. That is correct in Spanish. It is noviembre, noviembre.
Noviembre.
Noviembre, noviembre, noviembre. Okay, so just remember super, super soft. And the hard thing with B&B will be that you, again, boy, it'll be sometimes hard to even hear that, difficult to hear it because it goes so soft. So, okay, bien. Next week, I want you to take a look at the R and the rolled R's. Some of you are pretty comfortable with that already, which is great. Some of you maybe don't feel comfortable with it. I am going to send you what I feel is the best video for learning to roll your R's. I will send that out to you in the email. It is super, super good because it tells you what to do with your mouth to make, there's a thing with what you do with your tongue, actually. And the suggestion is to blow out air and use an F and an R together. Frente, frío. If you say an F, F pushes air out. And when you have an FR, it will push the air out and it will help your tongue to do the flutter thing for the R sound, okay? So you can practice that. By the way, if you have trouble rolling an R, it is not the end of the world. It is good to know. It is obviously more accurate, but people can still understand you if you have trouble rolling an R. So don't feel like this is the crucial make or break thing and people won't understand me. People who speak Spanish know that non-Spanish speakers have a tough time with it. And so you can still be understood, but of course, yes, it does make a difference between some words that have a single R or a double R. So, okay, it's important, but it's not make or break. So for some of you, it may take a while to get used to that, is what I'm saying. So don't let it throw you. Okay. Let's take a look at making nouns plural. This probably won't take too long. Es fácil, it's easy. Something is facile in English. Highfalutin word for easy, facile. Yeah, but we don't use that in conversation very much, do we? But fácil is easy. Okay, the way you make nouns, a name of a person, a place, or a thing, plural, is usually just adding an S. And you just add an S if the very last letter of the word of the noun is a vowel. Yay! Well, that's a lot like English. But if the very last letter of the noun, the person, place, or thing, is a consonant, it'll be ES instead. So this is not the biggest brain buster, yeah? S or ES makes it plural. The one little corollary is that if that final consonant happens to be a Z, we'll change the Z into C, and then we add the ES. And the number of words that do that in Spanish is rather small, but significant enough that you should know that that happens. And by the way, changing the Z into C and then adding the ES does not change the pronunciation in any way or shape or form, right? If you could, you can't have ZE as a combination in Spanish, that's why. And you're not going to be writing a lot of stuff out. So, you know, you just need to know if you see it spelled like you're reading something, it will be Z changes to C, okay? So they gave us 3 examples: italianos, inglés to ingleses, lápiz to lápices, and there is one of our Z to changes to C, so CES, okay? I'm going to show you what all the answers are for this. We're going to take a look. So escritor, and I'm going to highlight which type of ending we put on. Escritor becomes escritores. R is a consonant, so we add an ES onto the end, okay? Alemán, a German person, becomes alemanes. We have an N, a consonant, so we add ES, alemanes. It loses the accent mark for pronunciation that doesn't really, you know, not a critical thing for you. For writing, it's critical. Mexicano ends in a vowel, so mexicanos. Okay. Luz is one of those bugaboo funny things. Luz ends in a, I'm going to make my C underlined as well. I'm going to actually make that bold. Luz, which means a light, like a light in your ceiling or a light in a flashlight or light from the sun. Yeah. Luz ends in Z, so that changes to C first. Luces. But you know, luces, you still hear that sound. So it's a spelling thing, luces. But ES is what we need at the end. Piloto, pilot, is ends in a vowel, so pilotos. Holandesa, a Dutch lady, lady from Holland, from Netherlands. Holandesa is talking about a female. And if we say a Dutch lady, a group of ladies from, you know, and they're making a tour, we just add an S to the end because that's a vowel, that right? Now we've got the word for judge. Judge is juez. Juez ends in a Z, so we change that to a C first. So it becomes jueces, jueces. We add an ES, okay? Bicicleta is bicycle. So bicicleta ends in an a vowel, so bicicletas. Yeah, that's not too tough. Estudiante ends in a vowel, so we just make it plural by adding an S. The word dólar. Dólar, dollar, ends in a consonant, R. So we add ES to the end of it, dólares, and that keeps the accent mark. That keeps it, dólares. We punch the O, dólares. I want everybody to say this word with me because there are 2 words that are alike, and I'll show them to you briefly. And it capitalizes it. I hate when it does that. Here are 2 words I don't want you to confuse because they mean very different things. Let's do the first one, dólares.
Dólares.
Dólares. Bien. Dólares. ¿sí?
Dólares.
So you see my mouth. Dólares. 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 Dollars. Like American dollars. It's a monetary unit. But this word you hear a lot. And instead of dólares, instead of that it's dolores. And this is why I told you those vowels are crucial, because sometimes when you change a vowel, wow, even though it's only different by one letter, it means a whole different word. Dolores. Dolores means pains. Okay, dolores. Dolor means a pain, like a headache, like you mess up. Yeah. Tengo dolor de espalda. I have a pain in my back. Dolor de cabeza, headache. Dolor is a pain, a physical pain. It could be an emotional pain in a song. But dólar with an A is money unit. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. We've got, this ends in an a vowel. So mesas. Mesas, tables. Tables. Hospital, hospital, ends in a consonant. So hospitales is how we make that more than one. Bar, which is a place you go to drink, ends in a consonant. Bar. So to make it more than one, bares. Hay muchos bares en la ciudad. There are a lot of bars in the city. Okay. Now we have combinations. These are harder, but they're going to follow the same rule. They're harder because I'm combining two words. I'm combining a thing, a noun, with a description, an adjective. But kind of the same sort of principles are going to follow. If a noun is plural, the description that talks about that noun also has to be plural. So this will be like, and we'll do this little by little. In English, we would have to say cars, reds. We say red cars, red. Red is always red, yeah? Red car, red cars. Red flag, red flags. Red is always red. Well, in Spanish, if I say red cars, it becomes literally cars, reds. That word red has to become plural. In Spanish, descriptions have to match up the form of the noun they're talking about. So we're going to make both of these plural, but the rules for making them plural are kind of similar. So hotel ends in a consonant, it becomes hoteles. Elegante ends in a vowel. We make that plural, just tag on an S. Elegantes. So hoteles, elegantes. Yeah? Okay. Reloj, which can be this thing, or it can be a clock on a wall. Reloj ends in a consonant. Relojes. Antiguo just ends in a vowel, so antiguos. So the whole thing becomes relojes antiguos. Okay. Pez is a fishy, a live fishy. The dead fish cooked on your plate is a slightly different word. The word for what you order to eat is pescado. It starts off with a P-E-C, but pescado is a fish that you eat. It's dead, out of the water. But live fishes are this word, peces, and it's a Z, so it's one of those funny Z to C things. Peces, E-S, and pequeños, which means small. Pequeño ends in a vowel, so we just tag on an S. Chico is boy. Chicos is plural. Simpático, nice. Nice boys. Chicos simpáticos. They both end in vowels. So tag on an S. Yay. This combination, we just tag on S because the last word in both of them, or excuse me, the last letter in both of them is a vowel. So it becomes casa grande to casas grandes. Casas grandes. Just add on an S. Señor ends in a consonant, so it becomes señores. Español ends in a consonant. We tag on an ES, españoles. Okay. Spanish men. Camisa is this. This is camisa. Camisa, okay? Camisa ends in a vowel, so camisas makes it more than one. Negra means it's color black. It ends in a vowel, right? They both end in vowels, so we just tag on S's. Camisas negras. Camisas negras. Literally, they say shirts blacks. That's the way they express it, okay? Here's the word for island. Isla ends in a vowel, so islas and pretty, bonita. To make that plural, we just tag on the S because the last letter in there is a vowel. Islas bonitas. Bien?
Sí.
Is that kind of logical? Not too tough?
Yeah.
Bien? Okay. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any question about that before we move on?
No.
No, okay. Bien. I will give you a little exercise to do on that, to do for the coming week. We'll take, and I give you an example across the top. You'll take a noun, person, place, or thing, and you'll make it plural. And then you're going to combine the word and the word the. So it'll go for, por ejemplo, the example is the top line I give you is mes, which means month. The way you make just that noun plural is meses, months, like months of the year, right? And then you're going to make it some months, unos meses. You're going to make those two things plural, unos, some, meses, months. And then you're going to say the months, los meses, okay? So we go año, year. Un año would be a year, singular. You're going to make that eventually a plural thing. El año would mean the year. You'll make that whole thing plural, okay? So we go from all singular straight across to making them all plural. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so you'll do that on your own to practice. I'll show you the answers next week. So this is a tiny bit harder because besides all of these words, which are the nouns, you're also now adding on that little extra thing of saying or some. You're changing into some. You're changing the into those because we don't say those. Those boys, no, but they do. Those boys, that's what they do. So that's what you'll be doing for homework. Okay. Vale, ¿sí? ¿Entienden? Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Fantástico. Bien. We're going to talk a little bit about how can you tell if a noun is masculine or feminine? Ooh, this is a little tougher. Does anybody remember from the videos you watched? What's a real general, just throw it out there rule? How can you tell if a noun is masculine a lot of times? Not 100%.
Sometimes it ends in O.
Sometimes, not always, but often for many masculine nouns, O is a frequent ending, O. It's not 100%, but often, okay? And of course, all nouns, whether they are people, places, or things, all nouns are masculine or feminine. They just are, okay? Which sounds really weird to us in English, that the word chair is feminine. It's a thing, but it is, okay? The word for headphone, audífono, is masculine. Seriously, but it is, okay. So often little spellings on the noun will be a clue, okay? There are going to be some things that break the rules, but yeah. So O is often indicating masculine. What word usually indicate, or what ending, what little spelling clue often tells you that a noun is feminine?
A.
The ah, right, that ah sound at the end. But again, it's not 100%. Now, if a noun doesn't end in O, doesn't end in ah, then you just have to know from hearing it many times. Sometimes we do have keys, things like a CION, SION, that's going to be feminine. DAD or TAD as an ending, feminine, okay. Let's see how well you can do on these. We're going to take a look at these, and you haven't seen these before. Son nuevos, these are new. Let's see how many of these you can get right. And here's another clue, wordreference.com. When you look up words at any time, this is a website dictionary, wordreference.com. They'll list things as NM or NF, noun, masculine, noun, feminine, to tell you about gender. You know, when you see that after the word, it'll tell you that. Okay, we're going to quiz ourselves here. We're gruppo, which means group. Masculine or feminine? What do you think?
Masculine.
Masculine.
Masculino, fantastico, sí, because it's got that O ending, okay? And I've underlined things when they are helpful. Hijo, which means son.
Masculine.
Masculine, oh, male prodigy, yeah. Well, okay, kind of. Familia,
Feminine.
feminine word. It's a feminine word because that last letter is casa, house.
Feminine.
Feminine.
Feminine, yeah, sí. Padre,
Masculine.
masculine, yeah. Madre,
Feminine.
feminine, okay. Family members, padre, father, madre, mother. That e at the end, well, yeah, they both have an e at the end. You just have to know those. Dinero, which means money.
Masculine.
Masculine because it ends in an O. Dinero. Dinero is just a generic word for money. It doesn't necessarily mean paper money or coins. It's just money. Dinero. Okay. Dia.
Feminine.
It
Oh, no.
looks like this is a rule breaker. Oh, this one is a stinker. And I'm going to have to underline some of these.
What
later.
is dia?
Dia means day.
Okay.
Day. Oh, when you say buenos dias. When you say buenos dias, look at what happens. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. Oh, wait a minute. There is a masculine kind of description because dias is really masculine. Dias ends in a. You think should be feminine, slam dunk, baby. Yeah, but sadly, this is one of the words that is a rule breaker. Okay, it's a rule breaker. Dia ends in an a, but it is feminine. El dia, el dia. So many times when you see a noun defined for the first time, or they throw out a new word to you that is a noun, they'll say el dia, la tarde, el dia, la tarde. They throw it out with the el or the la so that you know right away if it's masculine or feminine. Okay. El dia, Oh, feminine. What am I doing? I'm looking at the masculine. Perdón. Ha. El día. El día. I don't want to confuse you even more. El día, masculine. Okay. Hora. Hora ends in an a. This is going to be a rule keeper.
Feminine.
Feminine. Rule keeper. Hora. Hora. Hora ends in a. La hora. La hora means the hour. Las horas del día, the hours of the day. La hora. ¿Cuál es la hora? Sí. ¿A qué hora? At what time? Hora, hora, hour of the day is feminine. Calle. It ends in an A. Shoe. Calle means street. Street.
I think it's feminine.
It's
Right.
feminine. La calle. La calle. La calle is feminine. But that A at the end doesn't really tell you a whole lot. It's a feminine word. Dirección. This has a definite, here's a clue. Sion is feminine. Dirección can mean direction. Dirección more often is used to talk about an address. ¿Cuál es la dirección? What's the address? La dirección. Dirección. But sion is feminine. DAD is a slam dunk too. DAD is going to be one thing. It's going to mean that word is
Feminine.
feminine. Comunidad. Comunidad. ITY is kind of a good suffix that relates to TAD. Comunidad, community. Unidad, unity. Universidad, university. ITY in English correlates a lot of times to DAD. Okay. Mano ends in an O, but this is a trick word. This is like dia. It's a rule breaker.
It's feminine.
It is la mano. It is a feminine word. It is a feminine word, la mano. It looks like it should be el mano, but it's never el mano. It's la mano. La mano. It's just a rule breaker. Dentista. Dentista, the person who fixes your teeth. Dentista can be both. Ista is an ending that means, person who does, whatever the front part of the word is. Ista is like our word ist, or our suffix ist. We say dentist, artist, pianist, flautist. Yeah, it's kind of a job or a person who does this kind of suffix. And ista is both masculine and feminine. It is both. So you only know from the article, the word for the they put in front of it. El dentista, la dentista. And ista never changes. Ista never changes from I-S-T-A-T. It's never isto. It's always ista. So it'd be el artista, la artista. The only thing it tells you male or female is the el or the la in front of the word. El dentista, la dentista. It's always ista. So it's both masculine and feminine. And the article used in front of it will tell you if it's a guy or a gal. But then we have this word doctor. Doctor. Doctor is masculine. Doctor. If we make this word feminine, like you've got a female doctor, we add an a onto the end of it, doctora. So unlike dentista, where ista is always just ista. You know, doctor would be a male, doctora would be a female. Okay, we've got the word estación. Estación can mean a station, like a train station. Estación can also mean season, like winter, spring, summer. Yeah. Estación is sion, so that's
Feminine.
feminine. That is feminine. Sion tells you feminine. Ooh, the word estudiante. Estudiante is both masculine and feminine. Estudiante never changes in form. It's always estudiante. So the only word you know if it's a guy or a gal is el estudiante, la estudiante. El estudiante, la estudiante. We use estudiante for both, okay? Like we used dentista for both, right? It's just that way. Okay, actor. Oh, we had a pattern. Doctor is masculine, so actor is masculine.
Masculine.
If you want to say a female, and we have a word actress in English, which a lot of people are dropping that gender thing now in English, yeah? Females will say, I am an actor. That word actress is kind of fading from English usage now, but there is a feminine form in Spanish. So actor is a male, actriz is the lady, actress. Ooh, lápiz. Lápiz is a pencil. Lápiz doesn't have any kind of spelling clue. You just have to know it's el lápiz. It has no spelling clue. Papel. We don't really have a good clue with this. It's el papel. They do tell you, I think, in that video that things that end in an L are often masculine. It's probably true, yeah. Metro means subway. Metro ends in O. Metro is masculine, right. Coche is a word they use in Spain for car. Carro is what you hear more in Latin America, but coche is still used in a lot of places. Coche is masculine. And there's no real spelling clue on the word coche. Autobús, there's no real spelling clue on that. It's masculine. Avión is a little different. It's not C-I-O-N, these are two things that are ion, but they're not C-I-O-N. They're not S-I-O-N. These two words are masculine, and these you hear a lot in conversation because people talk about modes of transportation, right? So avión, it's el avión, plane, airplane, el avión. Truck, el camión. And by the way, you may hear the word camión also might mean bus in certain regions. So camión, typically truck, but camión in certain countries might also be a bus. But they're both masculine. El avión, el camión, all right? They're not C-I-O-N, they're not S-I-O-N, just yon. Most of the time when you hear the yon, it's a C-I-O-N, S-I-O-N. But these, we talk about, if you're traveling, you talk about catching it, getting trucks, things on the street, right? Planes. Okay, aeropuerto, we've got a spelling clue here.
Yeah.
Masculine, el aeropuerto. Pasaporte, we don't have much of a clue here. It's el pasaporte. El pasaporte. Okay. Vuelo, we've got a spelling clue. Masculine, right, flight. Puerta can mean a door for a house or a building. It can mean the gate where you wait at the airport. And it's got a spelling clue, puerta.
Feminine.
It's feminine, la puerta. And we have cantidad, quantity. Feminine, that is the spelling clue, cantidad. Calidad means quality, calidad. Feminine, that is a spelling clue, right? Semana has an A at the end. It is feminine, la semana. Oficina means office. It is feminine, la oficina. And here's the word for cash, efectivo. It's got a spelling clue. Masculine, right. Precio means price. Precio has a spelling clue.
masculine,
masculine. And información has a spelling clue. Información,
Feminine.
Feminine.
feminine. Okay. I tried to pick some words that a tourist might typically say or hear or read on a board or a sign somewhere, for the most part, right? Things that we would use a lot as a tourist. So there are some little words that are clues for gender. See, game? The ones that don't have a spelling clue, just, listen hard for what's the little word before it, right? El or la, and that will help you. Okay. Any other questions you've got about gender? And it'll come to you little by little as you practice. No?
No.
No, okay. Bien. Let's start. My little notes here, making sure I do everything in order. Okay. We're going to start in with a little review. We're going to start to blend some things together. We're going to start to connect some words together into phrases in really short sentences. So we're going to combine these ideas of verbs like I or es or son with some family vocabulary, simple words, with some simple things you're going to recognize as masculine or feminine. We're going to start first, however, with a little share screen here, because you've seen these verbs. So I'm going to put these up on a share screen here. You've seen these verbs used kind of in isolation, and well, maybe not, because you actually saw a chart in your book. There are different verbs. Verbs are generally action words, yeah, but then we have these nasty things, verbs of being. Something is, or these things are, or I am, or we are, or you guys are. Okay, this is complicated in Spanish because we have many words that can mean am, is, or are. And then we have one verb that never changes at all. And that one verb that never changes is I. I never changes form. It means there is. It can also mean there are, to talk about. And in English, we're starting, wow, a lot of people in usage kind of ignore there are. Oh, there's lots of cars, which isn't grammatically correct, but you hear a lot of people making that mistake in English, even though they're perfectly fluent in English. There are a lot of cars is proper, but sometimes when we hear people speak, they misuse that. There is, there are. It's both singular and plural. It just talks about something exists. It's not specific about location. It's not specific about anything. It just says that thing is out there, right? And we use it to talk about just something being around in a general area, real general way. And I is generally used only, I'm going to say this, you will never hear the word, let me phrase this better. It does not use el or la. You'll never hear somebody use el or la with I. So they'll never say, if I use this, celular, cell phone, they'll never say, hay el celular, there's a cell phone. Else we, hay un celular. With I, we'll never use el or la, but you may use un or una, or the plural of those, unos or unas, and you may use numbers. You may use numbers. Oof, I wanted to use a symbol for that, but I've got my Spanish keyboard up and I don't know where that is. So we use I to talk about a thing existing, sometimes with un or una, sometimes with numbers. Okay. Hay una farmacia, there's a pharmacy. Hay una iglesia, there's a church. Hay un banco, there's a bank. Hay dos taxis, there are two taxis waiting here. You might hear it with numbers, but I just means something is around, okay? We're gonna introduce and use a little bit more this verb ser. Ser means to be. And we're also going to preview, but not use a lot today, this other verb, estar. It also means to be. Oh, shoot. Here comes the nasty, nasty part of Spanish. And it's nasty because, you know, we use to be a lot. I am, you are, he is, she is, we are. Okay. In English, this idea of, oh, in English, it is to be. And when we use this verb in English, to be, it becomes I am, you are, he or she is, you are, they are, we are. Okay. In English, am does not look anything like this word be. Wow. Are does not look anything like be. Is sure doesn't look like be. Okay, and then are and are. Well, in most languages, as a matter of fact, the verb to be is almost always super irregular and is almost always used, oh my gosh, 80% of the day, you're going to hear am, is, are somehow in a conversation. I mean, you just are going to hear to be used in some way in almost all languages. So we have to, in English, to be is super, super irregular. In Spanish, to be is super, super irregular. And that means that the forms of the verb to be are going to be rule breakers. They're going to be very irregular. Okay. We're going to focus more on this verb ser. Ser, to be, is used to identify. It's used to identify a person. It's an ID. You learned how to say in the first day, soy Marilyn, I'm Marilyn. I'm identifying myself. Soy maestra, I am a teacher. Soy morena, I am brunette. Well, okay, yeah, I'm fake brunette right now. So we use ser to identify. We use it to tell who or what something is. We use it to identify. We also use it to tell origin, where somebody or something is from. Okay. We use ser to talk about professions. What else do we use ser for? We use ser also to talk about permanent characteristics. Okay. Things that are physical or personality wise, the way that person generally is. Okay. The way they usually, most of the time, look, the way they usually mostly act because their personality is a certain way. So ser is used for all of those. So kind of a key, but not 100% rule is this idea of permanent. You know, ser is kind of indicates a certain, bit of permanence. Oh, ser really talks about the essence of what deep down something or somebody is like. That's what ser is about in to be. Estar will talk about things that are very easily changeable. Okay? Estar will also talk about location. So estar will say I am, or you are, or he is, when they talk about location, not where you're from. Where you're from, where you were born, that can't be changed. That's, permanent, right? But location, where you are at any particular time, that might change, right? Estar will talk about things that are more changeable, and it will talk about location. Those are the general rules. Okay, let's look at the forms of ser. To talk about myself, and myself is yo. Yo means I. This person, I'm talking about myself. But the verb form for soy, for ser in the yo form is soy. Soy, I am. And in Spanish, you can generally drop the word I. People will often not bother with I cannot get my parentheses to go. ¿Qué pasó? Oh, finally, por fin. People will generally drop this word and they'll just say soy, I am. All right. We, the word we is nosotros. People will generally drop it. They'll just say somos, we are. Okay. For tú, you are, it'll just be eres. In Spain, they've got a special plural form of tú, but this is only Spain. Only Spain. Sois, we're not going to use it a lot. You guys are, okay? Because they're going to use a different you guys. To talk about one person. Whoops. Keyboard jumped around. To talk about one person, like a male, he, or a gal, she, or to talk to you formal, usted. All those three are going to share one verb. Es. Es. He or she is, or the formal you. Okay. So to talk about one human being, to talk about myself, soy. To talk about you are, eres. To talk about one person, one human being, or one thing, if it's, a car or a pen or a phone or, camera, es, okay? Soy, I am, eres, you are, es, he is or she is, or you formal, you is. Yeah, that's what they use. Él, ella, usted, they all always use the same verb form. Okay. But if I want to talk about a group of people or a group of things, this is the word for they, ellos. And oops, the verb will be son. Okay. They, but a female group will be ellas. It'll use son. And you guys in Latin America, it doesn't matter. Any kind of you, familiar, formal, doesn't matter. They always use ustedes, and I'll spell it all out. Ustedes, son. So just as él and ella and usted share es as a verb form, ellos and ellas and ustedes will share son for verb form. Okay. So the verbs we're going to use today are going to be mostly es, talking about one person, and son, talking about more than one person, okay? Bien. So ser, and in your book, they gave you all the forms of these. Ser is very irregular. None of these look exactly like they would come from this verb ser. Soy, eres, es. Well, am, is, are don't much look like be either, right? Somos, we are. Ellos son, they are. Okay, those are the forms of ser. And we'll tackle estar a different day. But you did see in your book, very, very briefly, because you'll hear this word a lot, está will mean he is, she is, it is, you, the usted form, right? You are, but for usted, está, okay? So está is going to be the form of estar. You'll sometimes hear it corresponds to es. It's talking about one thing or one human being. Bien, okay? So you're going to see some of these in examples we're going to use very, very briefly. We're going to see how many of these you can recognize. We're going to use I, and I need to put my share back on. Aquí. We're going to start combining these a little bit. La familia, we're going to bring in the la familia here. La familia, we're going to use I to just say there are, and es and son, okay? And we're going to throw in a little extra word here, a word that means how many. La familia de Shakira. La familia de Shakira. We can't say Shakira's apostrophe S, family. We have to say the family of Shakira, and the word for of is de. Okay. La familia de Shakira. La familia de Shakira. I'm going to move this over a little bit. We're going to see how many different ways we can talk about Shakira's family. I'm going to use es a lot. Ooh, I'm going to start off, however, with I. Cuatro personas. Hay cuatro. There are how many?
4.
Hay cuatro personas en la familia de Shakira. There are 4 people in her family. Okay. And now I'm going to switch over from I, just saying how many exist. And I'm going to switch over to es. Shakira es rubia. Shakira es rubia. She's a blonde. I know it's out of a bottle, but she's blonde. Okay. Because that's how she looks. Shakira es rubia. Now I'm going to tell where she's from. Shakira es de Colombia. Es de Colombia. Where she is born, it's going to always be that, right? Shakira es de Colombia. That's where she was born. Now I'm going to tell what she does for a living. Shakira es cantante profesional. Es cantante. Shakira es cantante profesional. She's a what?
Singer?
She's a singer, professional singer. Shakira es baja. She's short. She's not. No es alta, es baja. She's short, es baja. Oh, Shakira es madre. She's a mom. Shakira es madre de 2 hijos. I can switch over and use I and you say, hay 2 hijos en la familia de Shakira. Hay 2 hijos. There are 2
2
kids.
sons.
Yeah, there are 2 kids. There are 2 sons. Hay 2 hijos. And but then Shakira es madre de 2 hijas. She's a mom of 2 this many kids, right? Shakira y Gerard Son padres. They're
His
not
children.
fathers, they're parents.
Right.
Yeah. When I make padre, father, plural, it now means parents. Oh. Padres can mean fathers, but padres often means parents. I take the masculine form of that, I make it plural. That can mean the word parents. Shakira y Gerard son padres. They are parents. Now I'm going to talk about origin. Gerard es francés. He's a French guy. Gerard es futbolista. He does what for a living?
Soccer.
Es futbolista. He plays soccer. Shakira y Gerard son ricos. They are what kind of people? They make lots of
Money.
Dinero.
Shakira y Gerard son ricos. Son ricos. They are rich. Los dos, both of them. Shakira y Gerard no son pobres. They are not
Poor.
poor. Pobres. No son pobres. Okay? No son pobres. Okay. Let's look at a couple of other. Let's look at this one. This is a little bit faster. ¿Cuántas personas hay? How many people are there? En la familia, in the family, ¿cuántas personas hay en la familia? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hay 6 personas. Hay 6 personas. There are 6 people. Hay 6 personas en la familia. ¿Sí? Es la abuela. She's the grandma. Es el padre. He's the dad. I'm just identifying who they are. Es el padre. Es la hija. She's the daughter. Es el hijo. He is the son. Es la madre. She's the mother. Es el abuelo. He's the grandpa. Bien? So we can use es to identify who these people are with a family member. Es la abuela. Es el padre, es la hija, es el hijo, es la madre, es el abuelo. We're just telling who relationship-wise they are. Yeah, right? Using their identifiers as grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, kid. Lógico, ¿no? Logical, right? ¿Sí?
Sí.
Bien? Okay. I might frame this question rather than just identifying them. ¿Cuántas personas, how many people hay, are there? ¿Cuántas personas hay en la familia Obama? I can use I with a number. Perdón. Hay 4 personas. There are 4 people. Hay 4 personas. There are 4 people. Move my box over here. Hay 4 personas, ¿sí? En la familia. Hay 4 personas en la familia. Hay 4. So I can use I to talk about how many. Hay 4 personas en la familia. Bien. I can use I with a number. But I might use es with a characteristic. Or es to identify specifically who they are. Es la madre, es el padre, es el hijo, es el segundo hijo, okay? I might use es to talk about where they're from. I might use es to talk about what that person does for a living. Okay, bien? Get the idea a little bit? Un poquito? Un poquito? Okay, bien. So those are just some ideas for starters on how we use the verb ser. Okay, and we'll talk a little more about that next week. What I want to do is a quick introduction to numbers as well. And I'm going to send a video for you to work on numbers a little bit harder. We're going to work numbers a lot next week. We're going to look, at these numbers and practice them together. And I'll send you all of these, so don't write any notes. You're going to get this file. You can like save it on your computer, do whatever. And the video I'm going to show you kind of breaks things down into patterns, but I want you to just hear how they sound now. Okay, and we're going to look at numbers. We'll probably just have time from 1 through 20, so we're going to do these really quickly. We've got, instead of Z for 0, we have cero, a C. Cero. Okay, repitan, cero.
Zero.
Cero, and it won't be Z, no buzz. Cero.
Zero.
It'll sound like an S. Cero. Cero. 0. Okay. Cero. Uno.
Uno.
Uno. Dos.
Dos.
Dos. Tres.
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 Tres. Okay. Cuatro.
Cuatro.
Cuatro. Cinco.
Cinco.
Cinco. Okay. A ver. Seis.
Seis.
Seis. Siete.
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 Siete. Okay. Ocho.
Ocho.
Ocho. Okay. Nueve.
Nueve.
And then we've got diez.
Diez.
Diez. The word decimal comes from the same thing as diez. Yeah, decimal system is based on 10, right? Diez. Okay. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Beyond that, in 1 through 15, we're going to have a single word. Like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are single words in English. We've got once for 11. Once.
Once.
Once. We've got doce for 12. Doce.
Doce.
So notice we move from dos for this many, dos, and we just add the sound e on the end of dos. Doce. Doce. 12. Doce. We have the word tres. Tres. We just add an e sound onto the end of it. It becomes trece.
Trece.
So I want you to try these three with me. Once,
Once.
Once.
doce,
Doce.
Doce.
trece.
Trece.
Now we've got what my teenage kids used to call the long one. We don't move from cuatro to 14. We move to catorce.
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 The long one. Yeah. Doce, it's short. Trece, it's short. Once, it's short. But catorce, it's long. And then this word, we don't move from 5 to 15. It's cinco, 5, but quince.
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 Quince is 15. So here are just one word combinations. Once, doce, trece, catorce, quince. From 16 through 19, it becomes like a math problem. 10 and 6, 10 and 7, 10 and 8, 10 and 9. Okay. The word and in Spanish is y. Y. So it's going to be 16. 16. We take the word 10, 10, we add the little word and, E, and we add on the 6. 16. Try that word with me. 16.
16.
16. 16. 17.
17.
17. 17. We're going to try 18. 18.
18.
18. We're going to try 19. 19.
19.
19. And then we've got a new word for 20. 20 will sound like vain with a te on the end. 20.
20.
20. And the way you'll say 21, 22, 23 is going to be, we'll add the word E and E with 1, E with 2, E with 3. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then we'll get a new word, 30. So I'm going to send you a video, but I want you to stop at the 30 word. Because for us to practice, I mean, you can go ahead and watch the whole thing, but for us to practice, we're going to only practice through 30 next week. Because that's a big enough chunk that you really need to practice it a lot. So we're going to practice it with some very hands-on pictures and things. Okay, entiende? But it's kind of a math problem because you add on, you have that basic unit 10, and then the little word and, E, and you add on the word, right? Or 20, E, and you add on the word, okay? Add on the next part of the number. That's how they will go. So the video will give you more listening practice, okay? Listening practice for how those numbers work, and we'll come in and we'll actually practice with looking at how many things next week, okay? And counting up. Now, one good thing the video is going to tell you is that quite often we learn the numbers in sequence, and then when we have to know them out of sequence, it becomes, oh, wait a minute, my rhythm is all messed up, yeah? But quite often we have to know numbers out of sequence. We learn them in sequence, but then when we have to say them or hear them, we're hearing them out of sequence. So we have to actually identify the number with that digit that you've got. So those are going to be things we're going to be practicing next week. That's why we're going to confine the number practice from 0 through about 20 or 30. We're going to confine it to that next week. Because if we make the chunk too big, it's too much information. Mentally, it just is, you know, you got to get a grip on it in a very concrete way. Okay, vale? Bien? Good. Okay, so I'm going to give you some videos, but para que sepan, so you know, the way we're going to practice next week, the way we're going to practice these numbers out of sequences, we're going to take phone numbers and say each digit, but they won't be in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going to be out of order. We're going to take those 1 through 10 digits as single digit numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, okay? And practice saying them with phone numbers, okay? So we're going to practice especially the 1 through 10s, and then the teens through 20s a little bit, okay? So we're going to practice that, saying those words a lot. So in your book, in your actual book, I told you to look through chapter 3. Look through maybe all of chapter 3, all of it next week. Make sure that you check out all of the numbers so you just get kind of familiar with them. And I'll give you lots of videos with it, but we're going to have lots of hands-on pictures where we take those numbers out of sequence and we practice saying them together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Vale? See? And continue to kind of check out that verb ser. the forms that are soy and eres and es and somos and son, and we'll talk more about those next week. I'm even going to give you an extra video on using I with these numbers, because again, we're going to use that verb I, there are, with numbers. And you'll hear more and more examples of using it, putting it into connecting it into a longer idea of there are so many, like what number of these things. Okay, ¿está bien?
Sí.
Está bien.
We're good? Fantastico. Any questions you have through the week, make sure you email me. 5-second, 2-minute explanation, email me. And you come up with a question, it's a good, valid question outside of class, let me know, and I'll shoot you back a quick answer through the week. ¿Está bien?
Sí.
Fantastico. I went 10 minutes over. That's not too bad for me. Okay. Muy bien. I hope you didn't have any pressing appointments, because otherwise you're 10 minutes late. Okay. Vale. Magnífico. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any question before we finish up?
No.
No? Fantastico. Okay. And just work those numbers, kind of internalize them, repeat them a lot, talk to yourselves. It's always good. Okay.